Hello and welcome back to our channel, South London Repair. Today we're gonna take a look onto a drone, a DJI Mini 2, which, as the customer stated, is barely touched the water. Since then is not charging and obviously it won't turn on. To take a closer look, we're gonna remove these first 4 screws. These are standard Phillips tiny screws. Once you take them off, you can peel off the top cover, plastic cover. Now this one has been hauled with many tiny clips and they are strong. And the first time I was very gentle and the drone didn't really appreciate it. It's opened up in a few points, but not all of them, and it was really hard to make any progress. It might be a spoiler alert, but I had to take apart a few times. After a while, I learned you can use as much force as reasonable. This plastic is much stronger than you first think, so it's very thin, but it's a really good quality plastic. Usually I don't like Chinese products, but this one can take a beat. I can tell you that one. Alright, so this one is not a new model. Mini 2 is around here for a while, and yeah, it's, you know, if it's crashing, sometimes it touches the water. It could happen with anyone. The first things really what you should do is just take apart and open up. Now this opening procedure, that's the first part. It took me more than 10 minutes, so I had to cut a little bit, but finally I was able to pop it up. Let's take a closer look. This board, what you can see is the engine control module, and basically it's have a few cable connection from the other boards. On the bottom this is probably a GPS and orientation module. The little soldered cable, those are going to the engines, the 4 engines. So this is what this board is controlling. I plan to put into the ultrasonic cleaning, and once it's cleaned up nicely, after we can take a closer look. The first part, we take off these cables. Let's take a closer look. Yeah, we have to clean up these cables as well because they look awful. And even under the connection. All right. To take out the engine control module, you also have to take out this other next module, which is, as I said, is probably for orientation. I'm not really a drone expert, so as I told the customer through the phone before he bring it in, we did repair 3D printers and really many other things, but drone, that's a first for me. But he was happy to us to take a look. All right, so the next part is the engines. The engines are soldered. There, the good news, we have tiny letters there, which is saying R, B, and W for red, black, and white cable. Don't be confused. First is black, is just a heat shrink. So basically after you can see the true color of the cable. So you don't need a lot of heat. I only use 350 Celsius on the solder iron and a tiny bit of flux, and yeah, It really was really easy to pop it up. And also use the tweezer to lift up the cable. They are very tight actually, so it's not, you don't want to cut them back, you don't want to mess them up. But on tiny flux, that is definitely is helpful in this case. Don't use the pointy tip. I'm using here 2.5, 3 millimeter wide tip. That one is enough to heat up nicely this connection. You don't want to heat them up for too long time of period. So we have 4 rotor, that's mean 12 cable connection. The cables are quite nice quality, little bit rigid, so you don't have to worry about you messed up the cable orientation or anything. They are on the right place, they're not moving anywhere. When you put them back, you really just have to check the color, because otherwise could be an issue. Now this water, this liquid damage, that was from salt water, so it looks worse than it is. I took a look on the other side. Obviously there is the connection for the battery as well, and yeah, it's understandable why they didn't charge the battery. Alright, to go further and see the damage on other parts, we have to remove a few screws again. And after we can access the bottom cover. Same things, a lot of plastic clips we have to deal, but this opened a little bit easier than the top part. Underneath we can see the buttons and obviously the warranty sticker, which is gone now for obvious reason. That one is, I think, is a proximity sensor and a big heat shield. That one is basically keeping cool the internal components as well. Once you remove, you can see these thermal solutions, thermal pasting. Once you start working on this one, you should replace that one. I put a new one before I gave back to the customer. Alright, I started popping up the cables. Unfortunately, these are a little bit harder because they used hot glue to hold on the cables, which is really good. So if it's crashing, these cables are not going anywhere, not like on the other side. Unfortunately, it's a little bit harder to pop them out. You can see the little DJI sticker, that one is showing it's had the liquid volt damage on this side as well. I try to use isopropyl alcohol to pop up the hot glue. Usually that one is quite helpful with that. In this case it didn't help much, so I used 130 degrees hot air, which did the trick. It's heated up a little bit, and after I was able to pop up the connection. Once I freed up all the cables, Wi-Fi cable and the other connections, I was able to take out the main board. This is where the charging port as well. Now on this board we have many metal shields with lovely holes in them, and also tiny holes on the side. So it's really a good idea to open them up after a liquid damage and clean them out there as well, because the liquid can go in, but it's really hard to get out. That one is the micro SD connection. That one didn't look too well. So as you can see, yeah, the liquid is definitely got inside. So we have to take a closer look, open up on the other side as well. Sorry, I forgot to change the camera in this case, but we get back. Yeah, so we have liquid damage on this board as well. Is less damage, but still we have a lot. I didn't so blow up components so far, so that's a good sign. Now these are the cables which is connected to two boards together. This one doesn't look too well. These connections are all should be very shiny. I try to give a little extra light, so yeah, at least 25% of the connection are not connecting anymore. Now this is where the camera unit, you can find the camera unit. I checked how that one looks like, but it wasn't that bad. Only the cable connection had some marks on it. So what I did, I loosened up the cable connection, pop it out, and I cleaned up that part as well. I mean, added to the list what I have to do. Now with the rest, so with the boards and the cables, what I was able to take out, my plan was to just, not my plan, I did is I put into the ultrasonic cleaner. We have a special solution which is really good exactly for this damage. You can get them from warehouse with quite nice big 1 liter pack, and you only need really a few milliliter from this solution. But in this case, because I didn't want to drop the whole camera unit into the ultrasonic device, because if it's not have any bigger damage, it's gonna be after this cleaning process. So I just cleaned up with isopropyl alcohol and different brushes. Also I tried to use dioxide, which is preventing any more damage and taking off the old one. And that's the cable. I drop a little dioxide on that one as well. Now after the cleaning process, so that was basically 3 hours in the ultrasonic device, and also this one is heating up the liquid, so it was around 50-60 Celsius. It came up quite nicely. I'm not saying it's like perfect, you can't tell anymore it was a liquid damage, but I didn't see any reason to not make it work. So the connections was reasonably shiny. We had a few black dots, but yeah, I was a little bit worried about that one. But what I did, I just put some dioxide D100 on this points, which was a little bit worried, and that one did the job in the next half an hour. So I just had to resolder back the 4 engine connection, rotor connection, when you're soldering back these connections, and you can see a lot of residue coming out from the solder. That's mean you have a serious corrosion there, and the best if you clean up completely and using a fresh solder. In this case, I didn't see any issues with that one. You can see this oily texture on that connection. That one is the dioxide, actually. So yeah, I put it together. I cleaned up the battery connection as well. I saw some liquid damage on that one, so I was really worried about that one. I was ready for a little fire in this case, but I was hopeful. We have insurance, but I don't think it's covering stupid things. All right, so let's see if it's charging. That would be a good start. Okay, now this USB tester, if you don't know, is nothing on the screen if it's connected to the charger, but the device is not picking up anything. This one is picking up, obviously. So it started charging quite nicely, and I saw a little LED lights blipping on the other side. And yeah, that one is a battery charging indication. So yeah, I left it on charge. I was checking, is nothing really hot there. If I can see something is warm, we can use the thermal camera, but if you don't feel anything bad with your fingers, then you're good. Also, I keep an eye, it's maybe the battery start puffing or anything, but no. So it was a good start. So I assembled back together, and I tried to turn it on. I pressed the buttons, and yeah, be honest, as I said, I didn't repair drones before, but what I didn't told you, I never used a drone before. I wanted, but it costs more than I can afford now for silly toys, so I had to download the manual. And when I came back, it turned out you have to press the button twice, and second time you hold it. So first is wake up, second one is holding and turning on. And yeah, so basically we had some argument. It had different LED lights blinking on the bottom, and as it turned out, I checked the manual. It's basically try to do the self-test and try to make the connections, and at the end, it's what I found is try to complain about it's missing the Wi-Fi connection, which was totally understandable, because this control unit, you need a phone which you connect it together, and the phone gonna be connecting to the drone. So this is far as I was able to get. All right. I checked a few more times. So next day I tried again, maybe, with fresh mind I may be able to get some more check out. I didn't wanna pair with my phone or anything because, it's customer device, and as far as I know, these are basically tied to an account. So I wanted to check once more again, how is it doing. It's hold the charge, which was a quite good sense, so that means the battery survived as it can. And yeah, I took maybe it's time to let the customer know he can come and do some further testing. Now I didn't wanna give back the customers in this state because obviously most of the customers are freak out when they see the internal components from their favorite toys. So I just try to put it together as good as I can. And I was hoping maybe it's gonna behave itself, and obviously in that case we finish with the repair. If you are interested, we are usually charging the minimum charge for liquid damage 65 or 69 pound, and basically if it's working then we are fine with that. And it was a fun job, isn't it? So the customer came and checked. Unfortunately, the drone wasn't really in a happy mood, but at least we was able to get some error message on the screen, on the mobile screen, and we're gonna continue from there with our next episode. If you like our video, please give us a like. If you don't like, just give us a comment. And I hope we can watch together the next one. See you next time. Bye.
If you enjoyed our video, please like and subscribe. If you don't, please leave a comment and tell us what you didn't like so we can improve. See you next time.